Hello and welcome to Guidance Review. I'm your host, David Pudwill, and today we're going to be talking about review and update of device establishment inspection processes from June 2020. So if we go ahead and get into the guidance document, there are a couple key questions I'd like you to be able to answer. One, what is the typical pre-announcement notice timeframe? Second, what is FDA's standard inspection timeframe? And three, what is typical communication during inspections? This is a relatively short guidance document. And first, let's go ahead and check out regulations.gov for the docket. And here we can see there are a number of comments that are received. Here we can see there are 5 listed. And I'm going to go ahead and check out a comment here from AdvaMed. So if we go ahead and look at these comments and then we compare that against the guidance document, we'll see some of these comments were considered, a number of these comments were not addressed, and it's interesting. So one particular comment, let's see if I can find it here. So AdvaMed had asked for FDA to change investigators may communicate to investigators shall communicate. And it appears that FDA has updated this to investigators should communicate. So they sort of taken a middle ground in addressing that specific comment. So it's interesting to check out some of these comments. You see what matters to industry, what concerns industry about the language in a particular guidance document. And here, let's go ahead and actually get into the meat of the guidance document. And as I mentioned, this is a relatively short guidance document today. And again, this was a review and update of device establishment inspection processes and standards. And this was issued on June 29th, 2020. And the draft, which was issued back in March of 2019. Questions can be sent to ORA policy staffs at fda.hhs.gov. And here you can see details for ORA, CDRH, and CBER. And again, here's more some front matter and then an introduction. And here FDA tells you why they are issuing this guidance, which is to comply with Section 702(b)(2) of the FDA Reauthorization Act of 2017, or FDARA, which directs FDA to issue guidance that specifies how the agency will implement uniform processes and standards that are applicable to inspections other than for cause of foreign and domestic device establishments. And here, FDA updated processes and standards as needed to address the new provisions that were added and to establish a standard timeframe for inspections. This guidance describes standardized methods of communication during the inspection process and identifies practices for investigators and device establishments to facilitate the continuity of inspections of these establishments. And again, here's some typical boilerplate language that FDA guidance documents, including this guidance, do not establish legally enforceable responsibilities. Instead, they describe the agency's current thinking on a topic and should be viewed only as recommendations unless specific regulatory or statutory requirements are cited. Here's some more background again about FDARA. And if we get into this discussion here, pursuant to Section 704H1 of the FD&C Act, FDA reviewed the processes and standards applicable to inspections of foreign and domestic device establishments that were in place as of August 18, 2017. And the review appears to have been fairly comprehensive. And as a result of the review, FDA identified uniform processes and standards and drafted revisions to update procedural documents, including the investigations operations manual and training materials where necessary to align with these processes and standards. And here, FDA believes that this should facilitate practices that encourage continuity within an inspection and consistency across inspection. So here, if we look at pre-announcement notice and communication, FDA intends to make reasonable efforts to make contact with the firm to pre-announce the inspection under the uniform processes and standards. An investigator notifies the owner, operator, or agent in charge of a device establishment by telephone before their facility undergoes an inspection. While FDA intends to seek acknowledgement of the pre-announcement notification from the firm, FDA believes the firm's failure to acknowledge the notification should not be a reason to delay the start of an inspection. Under the statute, this notification will be provided within a reasonable time before the inspection is scheduled to occur. For domestic inspections, that should be no less than 5 calendar days, and the pre-announcement for foreign inspections is generally more than 5 calendar days due to the requirements of particular country clearances. For both domestic and foreign inspections, the notification should include information about the type and nature of the inspection, such as whether the inspection is scheduled as surveillance or pre-approval. And updated processes specify that during pre-announcement, investigators should communicate with the firm regarding the planned time frame and duration of the inspection to include appropriate working hours during which the inspection is likely to take place. To the extent possible, FDA should also provide advance notice of some records that may be requested during the inspection. And here FDA notes that they retain the authority to conduct unannounced for-cause inspections. And here, if we look at the standard inspection timeframe, FDA standards for reasonable estimated timeframes of inspections generally range from 3 to 6 continuous business days. So it might last longer than a week. And these standards are based on the type of surveillance inspection and the extent of coverage needed for a pre-approval inspection. The estimated duration of each inspection could be shared with the firm at the time of pre-announcement. Inspection duration, here FDA says, is impacted by factors such as complexity of the firm's operations, availability of knowledgeable staff, and the nature of observed deficiencies. Additionally, FDA notes that it may be necessary to extend the duration of an inspection for a number of reasons, including follow-up on post-market safety information such as recalls, medical device reports, and complaints received by FDA, and updated processes provide that unless an investigator or the firm identifies a reason that additional time is needed and communicates this verbally to the other party, inspections of both domestic and foreign device establishments should take place within a standard time frame and occur over consecutive business days. And some of that's just the practicalities, especially for foreign inspections for FDA. And FDA recognizes that circumstances may arise for either FDA or the firm where exceptions to these timeframes may be appropriate, and exceptions to the timeframe should be communicated verbally during the course of the inspection. Here, for communication during inspections, we can see that FDA's updated processes also address regular verbal communication during the inspection between the investigator and the owner, operator, or agent in charge of the device establishment about the status of the inspection. When time and circumstances permit, investigators should make every reasonable effort to discuss all observations with the owner, operator, or agent in charge of the device establishment as they are observed, or on a daily basis to minimize errors and misunderstandings. And that's definitely something that you see happening in most of these types of inspections. And lack of a timely communication can definitely lead to misunderstandings. These discussions may address observations not documented on the FDA Form 483 that require clarification. Communications may be recorded by either FDA or the firm if there is advance notice and mutual consent by the other party. And that's it for today's guidance document, everybody. So just want to go ahead and thank you for your time, for your attention to today's video. I really hope that you found it useful. I guess quickly to highlight the 3 key takeaways. 1, the typical pre-announcement notice timeframe. Hopefully you know that. It's typically 5 days for domestic and more than 5 days for international. What is FDA's standard inspection timeframe? That would be 3 to 6 days, continuous business days. And what is typical communication during inspections? And that should be timely as items are observed, that communication should be ongoing verbally during that inspection. So again, thank you for joining me today. Thank you very much for checking out this video. I hope that you found it useful and interesting, and look forward to catching you in the next one. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.